that those measures, those mitigation measures, needed to be taken, and he was reluctant to do so.
And Dan, we've known from day one, this is a very different president in the sense that he's not ideological. He's not a traditional Republican. His campaign in 2016 was essentially a hostile takeover of the Republican Party. But we also know there's usually very little pushback when the president goes way outside the Republican lines. Liz Cheney, the congresswoman now, rising member of the House Republican leadership, was one of those who, after listening to the press conference yesterday, say, "No, Mr. President." She tweeted, "The federal government does not have absolute power." She went on to add in there a quote from the United States Constitution, making clear that many, many, many powers are by design delegated to the states. That's the way this country was built. Justin Amash, now an independent in the House, a former Republican, he's much more of a libertarian, tweeting, "Americans who believe in limited government deserve another option." The response to him by a woman on Twitter was, "Please be you." He says, "Thanks. I'm looking at it closely this week." Number one, Dan, very limited pushback from the party that says they are the constitutional conservatives. The Constitution is quite clear. The president was wrong. And if you could add in Justin Amash now being more serious, a lot of privacy, libertarian-like issues are front and center right now in the middle of this pandemic. Do we believe he is more likely to run, and what would that mean?
Well, I don't know about that, John. I go back to the point about the president's assertion of absolute power. You are not going to see, I would suspect, a lot of pushback from Republicans because they fear his wrath and they don't want to get in the middle of a fight with him. Liz Cheney, is a rare voice on something like this. We see this from time to time. Someone will speak up or speak out or take issue with the president. But in general, the party as a whole, the leaders as a whole have been quite timid about doing that, and I think that the president recognizes that. I mean, as you talk to Republicans about all of these issues, they acknowledge that the president is in no way a traditional conservative, and yet they recognize also that he has completely changed the nature of the Republican Party, and they are, in a sense, hostage to the takeover that he exercised in 2016 and continues to exercise now. So I think that tension is going to continue. We will see it in a variety of debates coming out of this in terms of what kind of spending is called for or what kind of programs are advocated and where the president stands on that. We'll see it on things like the fight over the deficits that are being created here and where the president is probably in a different place than many traditional conservatives. So they are kind of they are stuck, frankly, in how they deal with this. And we have seen nothing over 3+ years to suggest that there is going to be systematic or strong pushback from the traditional conservatives in the Republican Party.
But that's an excellent point. Many of these questions being raised, whether it's absolute authority, whether it's spending, so on and so forth, will be with us for some time through this, which happens to be an election year, and beyond. Dan Balz, Julie Hirschfeld Davis, great to see both of you. Appreciate your insights. The former Trump campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, wants an early release from prison, citing the risk to his health from the coronavirus. Manafort's lawyer is now asking that he serve the rest of his 7.5-year sentence at home. Manafort has been in jail since 2018 for bank and tax fraud and for violating foreign lobbying laws. Up next for us, a very big endorsement week for Joe Biden.